Hey everyone, and welcome. So, have you ever had that feeling where you're working your tail off, but it seems like your money just evaporates? Like it's not going nearly as far as it used to? Well, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to break down how you can fight back against those rising costs and actually start building some real wealth for yourself.
All right, let's just dive right into the big question, the one that's probably on a lot of our minds. Have you looked at your bills lately and just felt squeezed? You know, that feeling that your money just doesn't stretch like it once did? You are definitely not alone, and that feeling is exactly what we're going to tackle head-on today. Okay, check this out. This right here is the silent enemy of your savings, inflation. If your life costs, say, $30,000 a month right now, look at this. In 30 years, you're going to need over $72,000 a month just to have the exact same quality of life. That's more than double. Now, this isn't about being a downer. It's about understanding the rules of the game so you know how to win it. So what do? How do you fight back against that? Well, it's not just about trying to earn more money. It's about developing a powerful skill, a mindset really, that the wealthy have absolutely mastered. And that skill is called financial literacy. You know, financial literacy is really all about a huge shift in your mindset. It's about getting off that hamster wheel of just earning and spending. Instead, you start to learn how to use your money, even tiny amounts, as a tool to build the future you actually want. It's about truly understanding the power that's packed into every single dollar you have. And hey, don't just take my word for it. Even Albert Einstein called out the single most powerful tool for creating wealth. It's not about working harder and harder, it's about making your money work for you. And the engine that drives all of that? It's compound interest, that incredible force that can turn small, steady savings into an absolute fortune over time. And this, right here, this highlights the huge fork in the road. The wealthy see every single dollar as a potential little employee, a seed they can plant to grow more money. For so many others, though, it's just a loop. You work, you get paid, you spend it all, and then you have to start all over again. The very first step is just deciding you want to break that cycle. Okay, so theory is great, but how do you actually put this into action? Here is a super simple practical tool, the 3-2-1 rule. Just imagine your income is split into 6 equal parts. 3 of those parts go to your now, rent, food, daily expenses. 1 part is for yourself, investing in your skills, your growth. But here's the most important bit. 2 parts go directly to your future, and you set that money aside first. The absolute key is to pay your future self before you pay anyone else. But before you can even think about budgeting, you have to get really good at answering this one simple question. Is this thing I'm about to buy a want or a need? I'm telling you, the ability to be brutally honest with yourself about the difference between your desires and your actual necessities, that is probably the biggest dividing line between people who build wealth and people who stay stuck. No, this is where it gets a little tricky. Because even when you have the right tools, the right intentions, our own brains can end up sabotaging us. There are these hidden psychological traps that quietly mess with our spending decisions, and we don't even realize it's happening. So let's unmask a few of them. Does this one sound familiar? You get a bonus at work, maybe a tax refund, or some other kind of cash you weren't expecting. And what's the very first thought? Awesome, what can I buy with this? It feels like play money, totally different from your normal paycheck, right? Yep, you've just been tricked by a classic cognitive bias called mental accounting. Our brains literally create these separate little accounts for different kinds of money. We treat $100 from a bonus as way less valuable than $100 from our salary, which makes it incredibly easy to just spend it on a whim. But here's the hard truth. A dollar is a dollar. It doesn't matter where it came from. Okay, think about this one for a second. Why does saving the exact same amount of money, $10, feel so completely different depending on the situation? You'd probably feel pretty smart saving 50% on a small purchase, but trying to save a tiny fraction on a huge purchase? That just feels kind of pointless or even cheap. That little mind game is called the proportionality bias. Our brains get completely fixated on the percentage we're saving, not the actual dollars and cents. And this bias is so dangerous because it makes us pinch pennies on small stuff but get incredibly careless with our biggest purchases, which is exactly where the real savings are hiding. Oh, this one is so sneaky. The free trial. It seems totally logical, right? Risk-free. You get to try before you buy. But the companies that offer these things, they know something about human psychology that you might be forgetting. This is the endowment effect in action. The second we physically have something in our possession, our brain automatically thinks it's more valuable.
It becomes mine, and that feeling of ownership makes it psychologically really, really hard to let go. So the chances of you actually going through the hassle of returning that item, even if you don't really need it, just plummet.
Okay, so just being aware of these mental traps is a huge first step, but knowing about them isn't enough. Knowledge is only powerful when you actually use it. The real key to making a lasting change is to turn all these new insights into automatic, everyday habits.
So here's your pre-shopping battle plan. Doing this little bit of homework before you even leave the house builds a powerful defense against those impulse buys. First, check your budget so you know your limits. Then, make a specific list. Give yourself a mission. Estimate the costs so there are no surprises. See, this isn't about being restrictive. It's just about shopping with a plan.
And finally, this is your last line of defense. It happens right there at the checkout. Before you hand over your card, just pause for a second and run through these questions in your head. It's a simple habit that forces a moment of clarity, and it acts like a firewall between you and a purchase you might regret later. It is the most powerful way to make sure you're spending with purpose.
Because in the end, it really all comes down to this one question. And it's not a question you answer just once. It's a choice you make every single day, with every single dollar you earn, spend, save, and invest. The power to build the future you want isn't in some lucky break. It's in the small choices and the good habits you build, starting right now.